Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome along to the new home for FSC. We are here on International Paddock in Qatar tonight with, well, a relatively limited field at the moment, but there's more drivers set to be coming over the next 20 minutes. Glad that you could join us all for, well, we've got a sprint race and then a full, well, not a full distance, a half distance race. So we've got 10 laps and then 29 laps, which around Qatar is quite interesting because, as I've seen before, Qatar does often deliver with its racing. As we look at Matt 2003 for Garuda Motorsports, that is, I believe, as he heads around turn 10 and up towards those three right-handers, all of which tighten up after each other. Some brilliant pace shown there, but this is just an outlap. But he has invalidated. But that outside curb on turn on the penultimate corner is a bit tricky. I have had it invalidate my laps a couple of times, but his next lap is clean. As we've got, I think that is Sharp Jenner. That is coming through the pit exit. Let's jump on board with Matt as he heads around turn 2. Cuts the curb slightly on 3. Double right at 4 and 5 through the first in 5th, through the second also in 5th, down to one of the slowest corners on this circuit, might even be the slowest, through the hairpin at 6, slightly faster, slightly more open hairpin at 7, overcorrection there as he lets the rear end slide out through 8, into the kink at 9, and then a much more open hairpin at turn 10, careful on exit, because it is very tempting and very easy to run wide on exit and then through into 11, well, pretty much flat. Into 12, also flat. 13, you drop down a gear, but you can still take it flat. 14, again, you really don't have to lift off the throttle until the final corner, but even then, that's brief. And then he heads down the front stretch. What time can the Garuda Motorsports man put in? It is a 23.554. That's not too bad overall, I don't think. Mute mirror for the Red Bull. Is that HBE? That is HBE, but he has invalidated his lap. Let's go on board with the Red Bulls as he heads round the final. I thought that could have been track limits. It's very easy to run wide, well, at least for me, on that final of the right-handers. And here he comes around the final corner, goes wide, doesn't lose his time, as he goes foot to the floor, down the front stretch, is 27.0. So not necessarily a brilliant lap. In fact, nowhere near a brilliant lap. 3.5 seconds down on the Garuda Motorsports man, as that is Squidge, who's just starting his lap now. Jenner, who is still warming up his tyres. HB has invalidated his, as yells in the third sector. That is Matt, as I think he is coming into the pits after a very successful first qualifying lap. We've still got 13 minutes left to run tonight. Let me see if I can open the chat on my other device that I've got. Let's watch. Hello everybody in chat, if you're watching. Glad to have you all. Let's look at HB, as his time is a 24.5. I know it's not a complete lap, but he is still a second down on the Golden Garudas as he heads around turn 1 to start another qualifying lap. Not a bad run through the first half of the first sector. Probably could have run a little bit wider on exit of 3. Taking a lot of curb through there. It's the fastest first sector for the Apex Racing man as he heads up towards turn 7 on one of the newest circuits on the calendar. We've got Squidge 25.9. Sharp Jenner's got a 41, but that's just tyre warming. We'll jump to Sharp in just a second. As we look at HBE, you can take a lot of speed through there. It's the fastest middle sector as well. So could we be looking at someone to dethrone Matt 2003 as he heads through turn 14 up towards the final corner? Red Panda Pigeon Slayer has joined. Glad to see him come in with 11.5 minutes left to go. Here comes HBE. This could be a pretty stonking lap. As here he comes across the line. Can he dethrone him? No, he can't, but he's damn close. It's a 23.6. And remember, with this league, tech levels are in force. Teams can develop their cars, so it is very easy to outdevelop your opponents at the risk of spending too much money, because there is, of course, a budget cap. There's Sharp Jenner's 26.7, but that's his lap invalidated. Squidge is in the pit lane. Mute Mirror's coming out now. Matt's come out again, so he's going to be trying to possibly improve his lap time. Suddenly, his position doesn't particularly look too strong. As here comes Sharp Jenner through the first sector, 9 seconds up on his personal best. It's a 27.8. That's relative to some of the other times that I've seen. It's not too bad, but it's certainly a considerable improvement. Round turn 7. I think he went a little bit wide on the exit of that hairpin as he comes into turn 10. Careful on the curbs there as well. Very easy to unsettle your car. 15 seconds up on his personal best of 55.9. That could put him, you know, up in the battle for the front row if he keeps it going, assuming that there is, of course, space to improve. Ooh, almost lost it there. In fact, he did lose it because the final lap time was invalidated. We've got Elite NL Dave also joining us. That is for... find out who that is. I want to say that is for Athletic Motorsports. Although I can't be 100% sure. Red Panda Pigeon Slayer is for the Lotus P5s. As he comes out for his first flying lap halfway through this session. Well, he's currently on his out lap at the moment. So that's not, doesn't necessarily matter too much. Let's see. Mute Mirror, he is down on his personal best. It's a 28 seconds. So again, he's 0.3 down on what we saw someone like Sharp Jenner run through that first sector. Here he comes through that second. He's up by 3.5 tenths, but he'd need a massive improvement through this final sector in order to trouble Squeege, who's in third. Ooh, unsettles the car there over the curbs. Careful, don't take too much of them. We've got Squeege starting a lap as well, but here comes Mute Mirror running over the curbs as well. Not invalidating his lap, gets to go again if he wants to, but his time is a 26.3, ups his time by 0.7 of a second, but not enough to move up a position. Matt improves his time by 0.4 to a 23.1. Good lap time there for Matt. It's a 5-spot grid drop for Sharp Jenner due to a collision with Mute Mirror. I'm not sure 100% what happened there. Because he was stationary on the exit of turn 1. But that's an interesting situation. So unless Sharp Jenner can get himself into the top, on the front row essentially, he's going to be starting at the back. Panda's set to go for another lap. It's 25.6, so that would have put him in 3rd place had that lap counted. As he runs wide into turn 1. I was going to say very easy mistake to make. I've not seen that happen too often. In general. Let's see what happens. Squeege coming to the line now. It's a 1.3 second improvement, but he's still a second down on HBE. That Garuda and the Apex clearly working well here at Qatar. In fact, let's jump on with HBE. He's 0.2 down after the first sector. Half a second up even after 2 sectors. So some pretty stellar times being made here by the Apex as he comes through turn 14 up towards the final corner. The only sort of braking zone, as it were, in this sector. Doesn't run wide, keeps it clean, and here he goes, dash to the line. Can he dethrone the Golden Garuda with 6 minutes to go? You bet he can, by some margin as well. It's a 22.4. That is 0.7 difference, which is pretty massive for the Apex Racing, man. In terms of the championship as well, Apex are currently leading on 62, with Porsche on 60 and Lotus on 54. With, of course, qualifying giving some points, because it's 3 points for pole, 2 points for second, and 1 point for third. So currently Red Bull would be moving up from 1 point to 2 points, with Squidge's 3rd place. And Matt's Garudas would be going to 27 points, with Apex going up to 65. Also, in terms of points, standard F1 points are given to the sprint, so, you know, 8, 7, 6, 5, as you would in normal F1. The race has a point system from 10 to 12. No, from 1 to 12 in terms of position, and then it goes 30 points for first, and then there is, you know, it goes down progressively to 4 points for 10th, 2 points for 11th, and 1 point for 12th. Anybody below that will not get points. We go on with Sharp Jenner. He's 1.6 seconds down on his personal best. He's just put in a pretty stellar lap with a 23.7 even. So that's put him currently in 3rd place. So the Pagani would be picking up the points. He'd finally be putting himself on the drivers' standings, which again currently has HBE in the lead with 62 for Apex. Then it's James Petty for Porsche with 36, not racing tonight. Dave in 3rd place. That is for the Lotus. Oof. Sharp Jenner really breaking to make the line. That was pretty funny, I will admit. Let's look at Squidge. Just been nudged out of a points-paying position here in qualifying. So again, in order to double his points tally for the team, and I believe, yes, and in order to put himself on the drivers' standings, he does need to try and get into that top 3. Let's also look at Panda. He's not been able to finish a lap at all. Partially probably due to running wide at turn 1, but also he did invalidate another lap before that, which isn't particularly ideal for anyone. As Mute Mirror currently in 5th place in the Porsche. Porsche, of course, part of the battle for the top 3 with Apex, Porsche and Lotus. A difference of 8 points after what I believe is 2 rounds. As he heads around turn 5 into turn 6, ups his time in the first sector by just under a tenth and a half. Comes up towards turn 7. Through the kink at 8 and 9 into turn 10. Difficult braking zone as drivers come out for the final laps, including Luigi. And Dave, I would imagine, is coming out soon. Mute Mirror currently up by 3.5 tenths. Not enough for a position, but again, could at least try and cement his P5. As up to the line he comes. Well, up to the final corner even he comes. It's not a bad run there from the Porsche, but we've seen the Porsche do much better in comparison to some of the other cars around here. It's a 25.6, so ups his time by 0.6 of a second, but again, he's a second down on the Red Bull. Which, if we're looking purely at the point standings, Red Bull in 9th place with the 1 point, Porsche in 2nd place with the 60. You'd think it should be at least, the other way around. But at least at the moment, evidently not so. Final laps are being started by these drivers as they head around this, well, pretty thrilling Lusail International Circuit, as it turns out. Dave isn't setting a lap, so he is going to be starting in 7th place, because don't forget, Sharp Jenner does have that 5th-place grid drop. Let's look at Luigi, one of 2 men on track to have not set a lap. So here he comes through turn 3. In the other Garuda, Matt, of course, in 2nd place after being on provisional pole position for quite some time. See what HBE's down on his 1st and 2nd sector and invalidated his 3rd, and he's coming into the pits. And the checkered flag is also out, so these laps are going to be the final laps. Mute Mirror stays in 5th. Not a good time for the Porsches. Let's have a look who is next. That's Panda. He's had a spin there through turn, well, on the run down to the final corner. That is Matt coming up to the line. Was his time affected by the spin? No. Was his line affected? Certainly. There goes Sharp Jenner. Ups his time, but not his position. Stays in 3rd place. That is a point for Pagani. As here comes Squid, and here comes also Luigi up to the line. Goes 3rd, so it's a double top 3 for the Garudas. And that is that, ladies and gents. So HBE continues a very dominant streak here at FSC. Takes 3 points for pole. And the Garudas take another 3 points, with Luigi taking 2 of those. 1 of those even. And Matt taking the other 2. The results are on your screen now, and you can see how developed some of these cars are. Of course, HBE, looking at purely tech level, would be on pole position, because he is, well, 70 tech points ahead of everybody else. But look at Sharp Jenner making that Pagani work, currently on 100 compared to some of the other drivers around him. Mute Mirror, again, currently on 266. You'd think he'd be a bit further up the grid considering some of the competition, but seemingly not. And we can't see Panda or Dave's tech levels either, so that is sort of yet to be discovered. Right, now that qualifying is done, we're set to go sprinting in a couple of minutes' time. Remember, it is a 10-lap sprint here around Qatar. And then it is a 29 lap race around the Lusail circuit. As we just wait for the sprint to start, might I encourage you also to join this racing league, because obviously, you know, these guys have just joined us. So welcome FSC, welcome along to International Paddock. Glad to have you guys on board as always. And it's brilliant that we're able to have all sorts of leagues with all sorts of different shades of realism. As here we go, that is the formation lap. I got slightly overexcited there, I will be honest. Let's have a look at some of the tyres as well. Everybody on the medium, other than Mute Mirror, who's going for the hards. Clearly that Porsche likes eating its tyres pretty heavily. What could we expect to see? Well, HB on pole position had some pretty stellar pace, so could be looking at him pulling away. In terms of the sprint, might also be worth noting for the 8 drivers that are here, if you finish, you get points, because there's only 8 points paying places. Can't get my words out today. It's a pretty brilliant view down the Qatar circuit, sort of like the Bahrain S as well. Watching cars run through there from a very far angle looks pretty amazing. This man Dave running for the Lotuses, as it turns out. My apologies there, Dave. They're coming through the penultimate corner. Down towards the final one, it is the Lotuses on the back row ahead of a Porsche and a Red Bull. With these guys going slowly and slowly to try and obviously, you know, force some of the other drivers to lose heat in their own tyres. As they're now lining up on the grid, ready to take the start here at Lusail. Crowds packed, ready to see the race unfurl. It is 10 laps around here, but they don't particularly last long, so this could be entertaining. It is also very high speed, as we can see the lights getting ready. I hope you're ready. And we're rolling here in Qatar, looking on board with Luigi Sven. It's a good start from Matt as well, as they go side by side down to the first corner. It's almost 3 wide. Matt's pushing HB's. HB goes round the outside to retain the lead. There's some battles further back. That's Dave making moves, and in fact HB takes the inside into turn 2, so he keeps the lead with the Garudas in second and third. Jenna not very far behind, and there's a pack forming further back as the Lotuses, after Dave's very early and very promising charge, is dropped back down to last place. We see Squidge trying to get past Mute Mirror, who is on the hard tyre. He does have the distinct disadvantage early on here in the race, but later on, once the tyres are warmed up and nice and toasty, you'd think he has the advantage here. But we'll see. We'll see when that happens. When we get to it in about 7 or 8 laps time. Looking back towards the front. In fact, let's go back here. Thought Squidge was going to go for it. The Lotuses have swapped places. So it is Dave ahead of Panda. As, oh, brave move attempted there by Dave. Goodness me. Unfortunately, did not get pulled off. As that is, well, he's taken his bravery pills today. Certainly, that is a difficult move to pull off down the long right. And in fact, there goes Squidge on Mute Mirrors. They go side by side. 2 wide. Ooh, clatters. Squidge does the Porsche. as Squidge takes the inside line into turn 1. And surely you'd think the limited grip on those hards, that's the move done there for the Red Bull. Now he can go chase after the front two as the Lotuses keep battling with each other essentially at the back of the grid. This can't be good for their own points standings. Remember, they are in a bit of a constructor tussle, what with Porsche and Apex. These guys are the only team other than Garuda to have both of their drivers racing tonight. They're certainly the highest, with Garuda in 5th place on 25 points. As we go on board with Red Panda Dragon Slayer, really trying to hustle that Lotus to get ahead of Mute Mirror. As they head round 11, 3-second time penalty for Matt. Track limits are a notorious issue. I thought he was going to go for it. Panda's picked up a 3-second penalty as well. So you think this is race dusted, but here he goes, trying to go around the outside of the final corner. This is going to be a difficult move to pull off. He's given it a damn good go, though, and on those mediums, he's really making it work. And in fact, there goes Dave. Is he going to go too wide? No, but Mute Mirror does have the pace advantage and the straight line speed. And what can the other Lotus do to get ahead of Red Panda? He's going to go up the inside of turn 1. Panda's got the inside into 2. Oh, I thought he was going to go for it there on the Porsche. He's Giaz, you know. Goodness me, outside of 3, he's forcing it round, but can he make it? No, he can't. Through turn 4, over, under, switchback. And we've got the best view in the house on board with Dave. In fact, Dave's going to try and go around the outside of turn 6. Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? Can he do it? Yes, he can, you bet. Almost, at least, anyway. Back end squiggling there for Dave. And, well, what a sequence of attempted overtakes. And in fact, I thought he was going to go for it again into turn 9, but no, clearly Mute Mirror has not got the pace that he needs. And in fact, Dave's got the inside on exit into through turn 10 as they head up towards the fast right-handers. Too wide through here is difficult but doable. And he's got the move done well before. Well, just before anyway. Whew, goodness me, Mute Mirror's got a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Half the grid already into lap 3. All I'm saying is, if this is what we're getting now, this is going to be interesting to see what happens further on in the race. There goes Luigi on Matt, so the gridders have swapped places here on lap 4. Now it's Luigi's turn to run after HBE, see if he can close the gap on the Apex racing car. As Mute Mirror has managed to get around the outside of turn 1 on Dave, but Dave's going to hang it around the outside of turn 2 to retaliate. Great move there by the Lotus. And here goes Mute Mirror through turn 4, trying to make that work. No, forces Dave a little bit wide. Well, very wide, in fact, off the track. As they go into the slowest corner on this circuit, and Mute Mirror's lost touch. 5 drivers now have track limits penalties. That is Sharp Jenna picking up one for the Paganis, as Luigi Sven really is closing up that gap. Evening, Sam and Mike. Glad to see you both in the chat. As we look here, lap 5, we're already halfway through this sprint race, would you believe it? We've had quite a lot of action here in the Middle East. As these guys are getting closer, but not close enough for a move. I'll tell you who is, though. Red Panda, I thought there was contact there with Squidge. Can Dave also make a move into turn 1? These Lotuses are really going in tandem. Yes, he can. Squidge has gone from 5th to 7th in the space of a straight. And now they're trying to hunt down Sharp Jenna, who has a considerably lower tech level car. It's going to be very difficult for Jenna to stay in 4th place. If he can, though. If he can, which of course is a big if. It would be brilliant for Pagani, who don't seem to have really developed their car much this season, unfortunately. Would have been great to see if they could. seemingly unable to do so. And again, the Lotuses really are going in tandem. They've been overtaking each other, yes, but they're right on pace as they head through turn 10. Update on Luigi. He's dropped back a little bit through this high downforce section as they head down the start finish straight to start lap 6 with 5 to go. As we're watching these pair try and catch up on Sharp Jenna. In fact, they have closed the gap down a little bit. Red Panda taking as many liberties as he can with track limits, clearly taking a good few. As the gap between themselves and Sharp Jenna is 1.3 seconds. There goes Dave ahead of Red Panda. So that is, well, these guys have been chopping and changing pretty much for the whole sprint. And I would not imagine that is going to change for the race. However, of course, it is probably going to die down a little bit. They head through turn 3 up towards a double right of 4 and 5. Squidge get a 3-second time penalty, and worth also remembering that some of the other drivers, well, quite a lot of the other drivers do have penalties as well, as Dave is right on the back of the Pagani of Sharp Jenna. Heading through turn 9 into the open hairpin of turn 10. It's not a bad run from the Lotuses so far. You'd have thought, considering that they are third in the championship, ahead of these pair, that they'd be able to get a better qualifying position, but seemingly not. There goes Matt on Luigi Sven. Again, teammates battling against each other, and clearly no love lost between the pair of them. As they head down the front stretch, Luigi does not have DRS, but he's going to try and make the move on Matt into turn 1. That is a brave move considering that he didn't have DRS, and there is the move from the Lotuses on Sharp Jenna. So Jenna's, oh goodness me, losing the car, but saving it nonetheless. That was a brilliant save there from the Pagani, goodness me. Seven laps in, 4 to go here at Qatar, and we are, well, at the moment we're witnessing a relative masterclass, as it were, from HBE, led from the get-go. Led into turn 2. Unfortunately, he didn't get to lead into turn 1, so it's not technically the whole race that he's led, if we're going to be pedantic. However, that Apex car really is looking strong, and you'd think coming up to the 29-lap race, which we're going to have in about 10 minutes' time, one would imagine that this is certainly a contender for the win. Another is the Garuda duo. They're not too far behind this, as Matt goes to defend against Luigi. Can Luigi make the move on his teammate? He's giving it a go. Can he get up the inside? No. There's no move there for Luigi. These guys keep trading places with each other. Up towards turn 4. Through turn 5 and into turn 6 for the 8th time in this race. Going to keep an eye on the battles further down with Dave and Panda as well. That is for 4th place. And again, they are teammates, so you'd think they know how to behave and when not to what's the word? Use track limits. However, not track limits, team orders. That's the word I was looking for. As these guys head into the right-handers. Also worth mentioning that Mute Mirror in the Porsche, which is currently 2nd in the championship, is currently in dead last, 10 seconds down, which is unusual because we've seen certain drivers be able to wring a lot out of their own car, but here we are in 8th place with Mute Mirror, and he's only just coming on the front stretch now to start his penultimate lap. Mute Mirror's got a 3-second time penalty. You know what, I should probably put the penalties up just so we're aware who's got what. Matt's got 3 seconds, so he's not going to lose a position. However, if Sharp Jenner can stay within 3 seconds of Red Panda, he could be picking one up, moving him up to 5th place, which is 4 points. Fortunately for Luigi, even if Matt managed to overtake him, he would not likely pull out a 3-second gap within a lap. So I think Luigi has managed to cement himself 2nd place here in the sprint. As they head round the final corner to start the final lap in the race. Squidge has got 12 seconds worth of penalty. Sharp Jenner now has 6, so he's got to hope for Panda to be picking up a little bit more penalties than than he'd hope as we look on with these pair. Heading up towards turn 4. When can Matt strike? Can Matt force Luigi into a mistake that's going to gain him 6.5 seconds? I doubt that's going to be possible, but I'm never going to say never, because we've seen all sorts of stuff happen in the F1 game. Coming around turn 7 for the final time in the sprint through 8, heading into turn 9. Last real passing opportunity. Well, we've seen passes attempted all over the circuit, really. We've even seen one heading into turn 12, which is this second right-hander. Taking a lot of curb is Matt. Yells in the second sector. That is for Mute Mirror. As he's got a spin on exit. As here comes Matt. Is he going to go for it into the final corner? He considers it, but bails out of it. Is he going to go... Ooh. Luigi forces him wide as HBE has won the sprint here in Qatar. But who's going to finish second on the road? It is Luigi Sven, who takes 2nd place ahead of his teammate Matt. So it is a double Garuda podium. As we watch Sharp Jenner and Squidge coming across the line. So it is 8 points for HBE, and it is 13 points for Garuda, as these guys firmly put themselves in 4th place at the moment, ahead of Chalupa in 4th currently in the standings, as we're watching Mute Mirror come around the final corner. We're going to have an ad break in a second, so we'll see you in a couple of moments' time. Welcome back, everybody. We've just seen the ending of the race. As driver of the day is HBE. He absolutely dominated from the top. As we're going to see just the final standings coming up now. HBE ahead of Luigi Sven, ahead of Matt. It is, of course, a double Garuda podium, with Elite Dave and Red Panda Pigeon Slayer in 4th and 5th. The two Lotuses picking up a good couple of positions after starting 7th and 8th. Sharp Jenner in 6th, Squidge in 7th, and Mute still having problems with that Porsche. He's finished down in dead last place. We're set to go racing again in Qatar in a couple of moments, in a couple of minutes' time, I believe. So sit tight, and we will see you all very shortly. Right, now that we're getting ready for the race, Qatar itself is pretty difficult on fuel, pretty difficult on tyres. It's going to be interesting to see what sort of strategies the drivers and the teams decide to take tonight. Main reason being, it is a fuel guzzler. The amount of time that you spend on that gas pedal is quite a long time compared to some of the other tracks. I know tracks like Monza, like Silverstone, you do spend a lot of time on the gas, and this is also one of them. Mainly because of sections like those 3 right-handers in the final sector. That is a brilliant section on this circuit, one of my personal faves. This track, of course, known for being a bike track predominantly. Hosted MotoGP races since it opened back in the mid to late 2000s. As we go for a formation lap. 8 drivers tonight, as we saw before. And these guys are going to be starting in the order that they finished the sprint in. Okay, so HBE ahead of Luigi, Sven, Matt, Elite Dave, Red Panda, Squidge, Sharp Jenna, and Mute Mirror. Your top 8, your only 8 running tonight. Let's actually have a look at drivers as well. Not drivers, tyres even. As well as we've got a healthy range here. Most on mediums. However, the Garuda's going for completely opposite strategies. One on the hards, one on the softs. Luigi going hard, Matt going soft. And Sharp Jenna also on the soft tyre. Clearly needing a little bit more pace from that Pagani. But I think, considering that he wasn't really that far behind in a car that is quite possibly one of the worst on the grid. I'm not saying it's the worst, but it is certainly up there. He's not made it easy for himself, put it that way. I would imagine next contract window after the season, or if he can possibly... Yeah, next season. That's what I was thinking. Sorry, I got my thingy confused with another series. If he can get himself into a new contract next time he goes to sign one, could possibly be looking at a better team purely because that Pagani doesn't have the pace. That driver looks to have a decent amount of it. As oof. There goes Mute Mirror. That is an incident on the formation lap. I think that was possibly also... Was there some form of damage? I don't think there was. But there certainly was something, you know, flying out in the sky. As Squish has disqualified himself. He's got a bit of a bad starting position now. As here we are, FSC on IP is set to go racing very shortly. Just waiting for the lights to start to come on, and then we can count down. Not sure what's happening here. There's quite a bit of a delay at the moment. Adrenaline is pumping. We're getting ready to set 8,000 horsepower wild in the deserts of Qatar here at Lusail International Circuit. Is it possibly my network connection? I don't think it is. I hope it isn't, put it that way. Let me make sure it isn't. Everybody's just stuck waiting to get going, which is very unusual. Going to keep you try and updated. Welcome to FSC. We don't usually have this. I think the game, as it may be frozen or something? I'm not too sure. We'll have to restart. Yeah. Okay, cool. So the game has become the game. And we're going to have to restart the lobby as a whole, as it turns out. Which is, of course, useful. And not at all frustrating. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the stream for the time being. And I will add you all back. Well, I will restart the stream when we come back. So we'll see you back very shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for bearing with us as we fix, well, whatever the game was doing to be the game, as it were. We've got 8 drivers, no formation lap, so we're just going to get going straight away. Hopefully shortly, as once the drivers do get their setups going. I was just waiting for the grid just to be set up off of the times off of the results of the sprint. Because, of course, this was a sprint event, so we did have a sprint race just previously, and we're just waiting for the full race to get going. Remember, it is a half-distance race around Qatar, 29 laps. Just waiting to get ready. Ready up, everybody. So we are going to be, well, we're going to be going to the track in a couple of moments' time. Then we're just going to let drivers put their setups in, put their drives in, and once we see the lights, we're going to be rolling. Should be going to the track in about 20 seconds time. Of course, I do have chat open as always, so if you've got any questions or want anything clarifying or anything like that, please do let us know. Let's see if anything's happening in the actual Discord servers. Wait 2 minutes before you're ready up. For setups and strategies, no formation lap as I mentioned before. So we're just going to wait for the drivers to set their setups up here in Qatar. No formation lap, thank you very much. Just a clarification from the lobby owner. Always good to better be safe than sorry, is the thing that I constantly say in these sorts of situations. As we get ready to race here at Qatar. Let me give you some facts about the Qatar circuit. Lusail International Circuit. There we are. 16 corners. Oh, because the kink on exit of turn 10 is technically a corner. Okay. It is a 5.419 kilometer circuit. Track record is a 124 in the RB19, surprisingly enough. In the current circuit, but the motorcycle circuit, which is what was used in the 2021 season, because of course this was a backup race. That is also a lap record set by Max Verstappen of 23.196 as we get ready to run here at Qatar. 5 lights on ahead of the drivers, and we're rolling here in the Middle East. It's a good start for HBE. It's a decent start for Mutant Mirror, who's somehow up at the top end of the field. There's been some mistakes going on when creating the grid, I think, because Mutant Mirror finished last, not second. As here goes Dave to try and go around the outside of Mutant Mirror here in... Oh, there goes a spin for the Porsche. Porsche's dropping down like a stone. As we've got Sharp Jenner almost getting past Red Panda. And they're both running wide on exit of turn 4. as Matt was also involved in the incident with Mute Mirror. And there he goes. That is... Oh, that was tight between these guys. That was certainly contact. And goodness me, what an eventful first lap we've had. Well, we've not fully finished it yet, but as these guys head down into turn 10 through turn 11 on board with Sharp Jenna, Mute Mirror's already got a 3-second time penalty. He's had to lift off the gas. He's going to go side by side through turn 12. That's a difficult one to do. And in fact, there goes Panda running horrendously wide. He's going to lose a position to not only Squidge, but also Sharp Jenna and Matt. And Mute Mirror now as well. Has there been some considerable damage to the floor, I wonder? He's going pretty slowly, so one would imagine, or has there been a puncture? That looks to be pretty severe damage. Can't really see what from, though. That's the problem. Unfortunately, this camera angle isn't particularly useful in that sort of thing. But the fact that he's mashing that throttle suggests that he is not happy. And there we go. Panda has retired after, well, going horrendously wide at turn 13 even. As there goes Matt on Squidge. Squidge, woo, was there contact there? It looked pretty close to it, I'll tell you what. And these guys head up through turn 7. I thought Matt was going to go for it on Sharp Jenna. He's close into turn 10. He's going to hang it around the outside as there he is, just on the side. And a drag race between the Pagani and the Garuda. Well, the Garuda's got, hell, considerably more pace than the Pagani. And there goes Squidge as well as they go side by side through 12 and 13. Great respect between these pair. And again, Sharp Jenna does not have the advantage because his car is, well, how do I say it in the nicest way possible without offending Pagani? It's not very good. Let's put it that way. In comparison to some of the other cars on the grid. As DRS is now enabled, but the drivers have strung themselves out to about a second for the most part. Other than the gap between the Garuda teammates and between last and penultimate position. But I think they are going to tighten up as when they get closer to that DRS zone on the front stretch of the race. Dave is inching ever closer to HBE. Ever dominant he was in the sprint race. Can he get anywhere near as he heads through turn 10? The gap's at about a second. Actually, let's have a look at tyres as well. While we're here. Mediums for most of the grid. Other than like before, the Garuda's swapping considerably strategies. Pardon me, yells in the second sector. That is for Sharp Jenna. Had a spin on the exit, well, on entry into 13. 3-second time penalty for Squeege. So we've got 3 out of 7 drivers picking up a variety of different penalties. Let's also look at the position gains. Dave up 2, Luigi up 2, Matt up 2, Squidge also up 2, Mute Mirror down 4, Jenna up 1, and Panda obviously DNF'd after a first lap, after going wide horrendously in that first lap. See if there's anything else happening. Not particularly. Lap 4 of 29. We've still got a good few laps yet to go. Mute Mirror's picked up another 3-second time penalty. Track limits around here are horrendously brutal. One of the most brutal ones that I've seen in this game, full stop. As Squidge once again gets a 3-second time penalty. Right, for detail, let's just put the penalties up just so that we can see what is happening. as these guys head towards the final corner for the 4th time in this race. HBE ow for Apex Racing is, well, he seems to dominate the race because he had outright pole position, which has picked up 3 points for himself. He's won the sprint, which has picked up another 8, so that puts him on 73 for the season already. And then he's right on track to be picking up another 30 for first place, which puts him in a pretty damn good position to go and pick up a load. We have a massive gap even, that's the word I was looking for, on James Petty, really making use of the fact that he's not here. But I reckon even now, he's given himself enough of a gap in terms of points where he can easily take a week off and still be in first, even if James Petty, you know, pole, sprint race if it happens, win, and all that. He can absolutely take a week's break, kick his feet up, and not worry about his championship position. Come back in 2 weeks' time, and he's all golden. Yellows in the 2nd sector. That is for Matt, going horrendously deep into the turn. Let's see if I can see. Okay, so I think he must have gone really deep into turn 10, 11. And he's DNF'd, so we'll see what happens now, but any DNF on track is usually interestingly handled by the AI. There goes Squidge as well, so we're already down from 8 to 5. As, oh goodness me, that was a big old back-end slide there from Jenna. These guys head as he heads into turn 1 for the 6th time of Askin in this race. Let's see what is happening here. Not really much in the Discord. I thought somebody would put something in there. But HBE absolutely running away with the race at this moment in time, ahead of Elite Dave and Luigi Sven. Yellows in the 1st sector. That is for Squidge's DNF. He retired in the pit lane. So I'm not sure why the game still thinks he's on track. But oh well, there he goes. And I'll tell you what, in fact, while it's relatively quiet, should we go for a lap on board? I think so. I'll shut up and I'll let you listen in. In fact, no, I won't. My apologies. Shot Jenna has also just retired from the session. So 7 laps in, and we've already got half the field retired, which isn't particularly ideal. And the thing is, right, they're all retiring of their own volition. I can't really see any incidents happening that would cause retirements, as it were. So are they just... Again, I don't want to be that guy that knows what happens in drivers' heads, because I can't say that, right? There's a reason I'm a driver and not a commentator, right? But it is certainly unusual, I think is the diplomatic way of saying it. As we go from 8 to 4 on lap 8 here in FSC, the first race of theirs here on International Paddock, but this is round 3 of their championship, and this man is running away with both the drivers and the teams and the championships and the race, mind you. So it's a very good day overall for the Apex crew. as Mute Mirror's got another 3-second time penalty for track limits, and he's going incredibly slowly. 8 and a third laps in, and he's already down half a minute, which is worrying, all things considered. The gap between Dave and Luigi has gone up, actually, from 2.7. It's now at 2.9. It's not gone up much. But around here, considering the amount of time that you are on full throttle, it is very much a case of what's the word? Because you need to try and keep close to your opponent because you spend so much time on throttle. There's not very much, I don't want to say space where you can go wrong, because there is quite a lot of that. However, there's not very many places where you can go wrong. Right, should we actually do a lap on board this time? I'll shut up, and I'll let you enjoy the lap on board with Luigi. What really interested me about that lap is that Luigi did have to lift off the throttle heading into those right-handers, so he really is trying to manage his tyres as well as he can. And worth not forgetting that Luigi and Mute Mirror are both on the hard tyre in comparison to Dave and HBE, who are both on the mediums since the word go. We watch Luigi head into turn 6th and 10th time in the race. There's some thoughts here that the race could end early. I'll keep you updated if and where I can. There's some rumours going around the paddock that this race could end early because of the amount of retirements that we have unfortunately had. I will keep everybody posted as and when that happens, but if it does, it's, you know, it is genuinely unfortunate that it would have had to happen. Actually, let me take the telemetry off as well. Christ. Not that. There we are. Goodness me. As we go back to the front pair, the difference between Dave and HBE has widened slightly over the past couple of laps. It was about 2.7, now it's 3.8, 3.9. These guys are relatively evenly matched, but HBE does have the Apex's additional pace sort of in its store, as you will. So it is going to be quite interesting to see what, well, is Dave able to go for it? Well, is HBE even, sorry, able to, you know, pull away soon? Luigi dropped down to 10 seconds behind his teammate, and New Mirror has dropped down to 53 seconds behind Luigi, which means over a minute behind HB, and in fact he is catching at a rate of not. HB is currently heading into turn 1 just ahead of him. You might be able to see him a little bit later. I think I saw him briefly there. Just as Mute Mirror was heading into turn, well, midway through turn 5. As they head through turn 4 and 5 for the 12th time of asking in the race. Race is going to be cut short from 29 to 16 laps. So lap 16 is the final lap. I repeat, we are not finishing on lap 29. We're going to be lap 16. Drivers will all need to pit before then, as per the standard regulations. So they've got 3 laps to pit now, essentially. I don't know if there are any drivers who haven't seen the message in the Discord. Please be aware that that is happening if you're listening to us here on the paddock. As we're watching, oh goodness me, Dave. Losing the back end there through the final corner. Starting lap 13 of 16, not of 29. As they head through the long right-hand of turn 1, 2, and 3. It's very much a sort of over-exaggerated Bahrain chicane. That's the way that I look at it, because it is still, you know, the 1, 2, and then the kink at 3. But it is horrendously over-exaggerated. It's sort of taken the American way at it. It's cool, but just make it bigger. As they head through turn 9 into turn 10. As Mute Mirror, again, he's managed to claw back a little bit of time, but he's still got 12 seconds worth of penalty. Is he going to stay on the lead lap, I wonder, come the end of the race? I'm not too sure, because 12 seconds is a lot of penalty around this track. As here he comes into the final corner, starting lap 14. You can see HB right ahead of Dave. That's a 5-second gap for you visualised. It's a pretty hefty gap, all things considered. As they head into turn 1. Through the second corner. Both I don't want to say slow, relatively slow, long corners. Through turn 4 into turn 5. They're sort of, it's a double apex right, as it were. But you can't just hold the steering wheel in one position. You need to lift, go straighter for a little bit, and then go back into turning right through 6 and 7, kink at 8, into the much bigger kink at turn 9, then the open hairpin at turn 10. Careful not to run wide. That's very easy to do. Through the kink at 11, into turn 12, into 13, and through 14, just like that. Both very fast right-handers. Not very easy to make a problem, but there's a lot of ways that you can do it. Movement there from the rear end of Dave as he comes around the final corner. And that is your lap done and dusted. That is a lap of Qatar. So this is the penultimate lap, roughly. So we should, I would imagine, see some of these drivers making a pit stop as they come to turn 3. Does Dave ahead of him? HBE is now at turn 5 already. Yells in the second sector. That is for Mute Mirror. Had a spin going through the kinks at 8 and 9. Through 10, he's managed to recover. But again, the big question is, will he be able to stay on the lead lap? He's very, very close to that not being the case. I do believe, in fact. No, if this keeps up, I don't think he will, you know. But he does have that pit stop in hand. And should all the other drivers pit, then it might be easier for him to stay ahead. However, let's have a look. In goes HBE. Does Dave go in? Does Dave go in? No, he doesn't. I don't think he knows that the race is ending early. Unfortunately. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. But Dave is going to take the race on the race lead on the final lap. As he goes into turn 1, probably not knowing that the race was forced to cut early. Heading into turn 2 through turn 3. Mute Mirror's got another 3-second time penalty for track limits. In goes Luigi to make his pit stop. He's the only one in this race. A little bit of wheel spin there from the Garuda. The sole Garuda left in this race. Lotus ahead of Apex, ahead of Garuda, ahead of Porsche, your top 4. Only these drivers will be getting points in the race. In the sprint, all of them were able to pick up at least a point. But in the race, as you can see, that was not quite meant to be. Dave coming up to the line now. I think, is Mute Mirror waiting for traffic? I think he may be. Although, no, he is going again. As in goes Dave. Ooh, now, hello. This is going to be interesting. I don't know if he technically knows about the whole race ending early thing. I think he was going to make the pit stop normally anyway. He's gone into the pit box now. Is he going to keep the lead as they head across the start-finish line? No. So it is going to be HBE who does take the win. Probably. For the fastest middle sector as well. HBE has retired, so that is the win for HBE. Dave finishes in second place, and coming up to the line now is Luigi. Yellow in the first and second sectors. That is turn 6 for Mute Mirror. As Luigi does take third place. And Luigi has retired, so we're just waiting for Mute Mirror to come up to the line now, and he is getting quite close. And then we can officially end the race. Whoa! Good grief. Oh, that could have been worse, to be fair. Thankfully it wasn't, but it could have very well have been. As he heads through turn 12, through 13 for the final time. Into 15, Dave has retired, so we're just waiting for Mute Mirror to finish his race. As he comes around the final corner. So it is HB ahead of Dave, ahead of Luigi, ahead of Mute Mirror, your top 4. I know we finished a little bit early. And there we go. Mute Mirror has retired. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for the race. So, HBE has claimed another win here at FSC. I wonder what's going to happen now that all the drivers have retired. Because I've never seen this. I think it technically thinks Dave's won it. But that's not the case. HB ahead of Dave, ahead of Luigi, ahead of Mute Mirror after 16 laps completed today. Thank you very much for watching here on International Paddock. Be sure to tune in next week where we've got another race coming up for you. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to tune in on Sunday where we've got round 3 ERC. Next Monday is the Papa Champs finale, I do believe. And then, of course, Wednesday and Thursday, you've got your ERC managers, you've got your SRC, and you do have FSE now on a Friday night. Again, thank you very much for watching, and we will all see you soon here on International Paddock. Stay safe, folks. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.